broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox City's Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. My next guests are involved with a powerful new short documentary called The Truth Will Set You Free. The film follows two longtime friends as they navigate the struggles of addiction, loss, and ultimately reconnection. The film is set to debut in May, and to find out more, we are joined by the director and co-producer of the film, Dave Jackson, executive producer and star, Marty Sosnowski, also known as Meatman, and co-director, Adam Koepke. Let's talk about your histories and what you do. Dave, you're a renowned photographer in the area. Some people might have seen your pictures, but there might be people that weren't aware that you're also into films. Can you tell us about some of the stuff you've done in the past?
Yeah, definitely. So, commercial advertising photographer. I've been around in the Fox Valley for quite a while. Also, spent a lot of time in the music scene, so a lot of music things really inspire me. From there, we have made a few short films in the past. We did the 2000, I'm going to get my dates totally wrong on this, but we did House number 613, which was a short film. And then we did the South Pole. Both of them were at the Wildwood Film Festival, and that kind of inspired us to kind of continue doing the film video thing. We haven't done a ton of it, but we're really enjoying more of the documentary side of it than say like some of these other short films that are like. So we have a few things in the works currently coming up, but in the past we've done some other shorter like documentary type things, and it's been pretty awesome. And that's why when this came around, this was a perfect fit. So
and Adam's worked with you on a lot of those projects, and including the Norma Jean. It was like a half hour.
Yeah,
about
like
a half
46 minutes. Yeah,
that documented Norma Jean recording an album at Pachyderm over in Cannon Falls.
Yeah, we were there to. I think it was just originally to shoot promos, and then Dave said, let's just take cameras along and just shoot the process of them recording in the studio. And it kind of just morphed into what it became, this just making of Polar Similar. And it was kind of surreal for me because, I mean, I grew up listening to them in high school. And, I mean, every day going to Appleton North, I'm blasting Norma Jean's Bless the Martyr in the car. Now here I am hanging out with the guys watching them record a record. It was pretty sweet.
4 days.
Did that make it hard to enjoy it, being fans of the band? You're there to work, but you're also, this is a band that you looked up to for quite some time.
I think it was like they're all just such nice dudes that there was no ego anywhere there. So it allowed you to work, but then it allowed you to just feel like you're hanging out with friends. So I don't know, it's hard to describe. Yeah, there was that initial like, oh my gosh, I'm here with all these guys. And then learning about this studio, how many great records have been recorded there, but then yeah, you just get really relaxed, and it's just like you're hanging out with friends for 4 days. It was super awesome.
And then the work comes, right?
Right. It was just super aggressive. Yeah. We were sleeping like 4 to 5 hours a night, driving 30 minutes each way to like get this done. And we could get the studio there. I don't know who's awake or who's in a bad mood or who's in a good mood, but it was awesome. Yeah.
Then in the middle, we've got Marty Meatman Sosnowski. Marty, you've been on the show a couple times before.
Yep, have been. Yep.
And you're a rock photographer.
Retired. I'm now retired, yes. But I still have. I'm still, yeah. For me, I know exactly what these guys are talking about, and it's so true. I really connect with what Adam said. Like, you meet and you get to be around all these people, and it was such a fascinating life. But the cool part of it is all these people kind of just the cool ones just made you so comfortable. It was always like hanging out. I remember always meeting people and thinking, if this guy lived in my town, he'd be my friend. There's no question about it. We'd hang out, and that's kind of what happened with these guys when I moved back. We just kind of gravitated toward each other, and here we are now.
So there, we kind of set up the past a little bit. You guys end up coming into each other's lives, and this film, and just to set up like where the film started, when did the idea for the film first come up?
I'd say, oh boy, that was probably probably like 2019, 2020, where the whole thing started out by like, oh, I want to like documenting Marty's storytelling, and then I want to like create this thing, and we didn't know what we were going to create, and then so it started out there after I had met Marty and became steadfast friends with him.
Where did you first meet Marty?
So I first met him. The first time I actually met him was at my studio, and that's when Steve Wagner you came to the studio with Steve Wagner, and Marty wanted a photo with his mohawk, which turned into quite the story in and of itself. But and I didn't know. I'm like, this guy's amazing. He was like, he walks out of my studio and he's mohawk and he has all this stuff going on, and I'm just like, oh man. I like this guy already, and little did I know that we'd become such close friends over the years, and I didn't know that he was like just going through some recovery at that time. So right at the tail end of it, actually. Yeah.
Next, Marty did some stuff with you at Mile of Music, some storytelling events that were hugely popular.
Yeah, that's kind of where it kicked off.
Yeah. It's been an unbelievable ride. Like I said, you meet somebody and it just clicks. It is what it is. I remember the same thinking when I left his studio. I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna owe this guy is amazing. I'm gonna owe him so much for doing this, because he was doing it as a favor. I couldn't afford to have Dave Jackson shoot my photos, but Steve Wagner goes, you gotta have this guy do this, and everybody kept telling me to meet him. You gotta meet this guy. And once we did it just clicked, and then it just came. And he's been sponsored. He gave me the seed money to get my storytelling show started originally. He's been in this since the beginning, and for me too. In the beginning, I just wanted a promo video that I could shop around to do storytelling, and I sold Dave my entire record collection. I was ready to get rid of it and downsize, do my April functional living thing, and get rid of my stuff. And I sold and part of the deal is I only wanted some money, but could you do this for me? And that's for me how it kind of started, and golly, here we are.
Yeah.
Adam, do you remember hearing about this friendship? Were you there when they met?
No, I don't. I remember seeing the photos afterwards. That was my first time ever seeing Marty, first time ever really hearing about him. To be honest, I can't remember our first meeting, which probably sounds weird because Marty's such a charismatic, memorable guy. But yeah, it's just like we've been saying all along, that you meet some people, they're just easy to talk to, and you just click right away. And that's exactly how it felt with Marty. So it's hard to remember just that exact point where we met for the first time. But the storytelling events at Mile of Music were always something to look forward to, because it's always a new story that I had never heard, and you end up laughing your ass off the whole time. So, yeah.
Well, and for people that are watching, Adam, you were the drummer for Christopher Gold and the New Old Things for quite some time. So
yep.
the thing that ties into this movie, this film, is the love of music, and the three of you all have a love of music, which that contributed, I'm guessing, to your immediate and quick friendship.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Became, and I had known Shane Krueger for a number of years, and in the meanwhile, I knew Marty and didn't know that those two were friends. So, yeah.
So can you set up a little bit about the original idea for this film?
The original idea was to put together a promo piece for Marty, for his storytelling. And, the original idea was we wanted to interview him, and then we wanted to go to some storytelling shows and film him, doing the storytelling, doing his shows. And we did a little bit of that, but unbeknownst to us, this story just started blooming in the meantime. And, so there was a lot of time within that 4-year span, but originally it was for Marty's.
Yeah, and the thing is in the beginning, I didn't know that he knew Shane, and like he said, once we started down this road, and so many of my stories, and he finally found out why I wasn't seeing Shane anymore as a friend, and that's where he started. He was talking to Shane a lot. He was talking to me a lot. And we were trying to shoot this promo stuff, and that's really where all the seeds started getting. And it took him a long time to convince me to do this, to do this part of it, to reconnect with him, but I was hoping that it would be a really good thing, and it was a great thing.
I had no idea that, when I met Marty, I'm like, he's, at some point we were, I don't know, it was Mild Music, but he's like, yeah, I had this friend Shane Krueger at Appleton Imports. I'm like, really? Like, how good of friends? Like, the bestest of friends. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then he's like, I don't know if I can talk to him.
So Shane Krueger is a big part of this film. You must have seen him going into the shop back in the 90s?
Yeah, back in the 90s. I had moved to Appleton in like 90, I think it was 94. But I had always been into music, and I was like checking out some music shops, and I walked into that store, and it was like walking into Alice in Wonderland. And it was like, wow. It was just, you could smell it walk away. But yeah, I walked in there, and I was blown away. And I would always go in there, and it always annoyed him. I'd always go shopping in there, and he'd be like, you can look, you can't touch, and you definitely can't buy. All right, see you later.
He had a great store, and back in the 90s there was Apple Emporium, and there was Appleton Imports.
Appleton Imports, I think the whole Appleton Emporium and Imports.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a few different locations, Harrison Street, 2 on College.
Yeah. Morrison. The original was on Morrison, and then there was 2 versions of Appleton Import on College Avenue. He moved. He was down there where the Walgreens got built, and then moved to the last location.
And for people that are younger, they might not know the love of walking into a music store in the 90s. Or, that's how you needed to get stuff, and you could look through what was there. And Shane was really good at knowing all the obscure stuff that nobody else knew. Spotify wasn't a thing. You couldn't just go online and have all these,
Yeah, he knew everything. He knew everything. And so much so that, like, I'd pick up a CD, open it up, and there's, like, as soon as you open it up, there's, like, notes in there. He'd, like, write notes and review it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
Like, crazy stuff.
And that's one of the things I'm really proud of about this movie is that Shane's going to get his due. Because I've said this so many times, that what he did for Appleton and the music scene in Appleton from the 80s all the way up till the end, it was amazing, and he totally deserves the spotlight for a while. He was just that kind of guy. And I think almost anybody that knew him, his knowledge was top notch in the music. He knew, but that's what we did. We spent our whole lives doing that.
So the original idea of the film was to be about Marty's Story Slams, which are great events that happen once a month, normally at the Cheesecake Heaven up in Green Bay, but once in a while down in Appleton.
Yeah.
Oh. Then all of a sudden the story pivots once Dave finds out about the mutual friend, Shane Krueger. Now at this point, Marty, you must have been a little bit nervous already that this film was going to be about you, but now it's going to be about a friendship, and you hadn't seen him in quite a while.
Yeah. I was nervous, but probably not more nervous than he was. Dave had to. Our first official meeting that we were going to get back to that, he had to go down and get him out of the store and drag him down. He said, "You said you were coming. All right, I'll come down."
So who broke the news to Shane that you guys wanted to do a film about the two of you? Who ended up?
Dave.
Dave.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
What was his initial reaction to that?
It was. I'm grateful that he was on camera. Like, that was grateful. Resistant at first, yeah. Whoa, where's this going? And then I didn't even when we interviewed him, I didn't even know where that was like going. But it was more or less. It went from this promo piece for the Story Slam to now I want to document these two like coming together, really, truly. And I had spent years trying to get the two just to say hi or reconnect, and there was a lot of nervousness on Shane's behalf. It was very difficult for Marty, because Marty, was coming into a better place in his life with his sobriety, and he was concerned, that might trigger the old time, the old days. But yeah.
Because you guys hadn't seen each other for such a long time. And this film, the cool thing about this film, it's about a friendship that was there, and then you don't see somebody, and I think everybody can relate to having somebody in your life that you're super close with, and then all of a sudden you don't see them for quite a while. And Marty, if you can talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you and Shane enjoyed doing together. You were hanging out all the time.
Oh yeah, we did everything together. I mean, we really did, and it was all had the music, behind it, but we did everything. We went fishing. Little known facts. I've been writing this down as little known facts that people didn't know about Shane, and I can remember one of the little known facts that people never knew about him is he could catch crayfish like no man I ever knew in my life. There's a little story. One time I came home from Chicago. I'd moved to Chicago, and I had been fishing and telling him how great the fishing was down there. And he goes, "Oh, really?" And he says, "Well, what are you catching them on?" And I said, "Crayfish tails." And I said, "Yeah, they're really expensive, but they work really good." "Oh, man." He goes, "Come on." We went, and he got a couple of sticks and a couple of forks, and we went up to his family, owned some land up on Coleman. And we spent a whole day on the creeks up there, and he knew all these crayfish hotspots. I'm not kidding you. We went home with 2 5-gallon pails full of crayfish. And that's, that's the kind of guy he was. And those were things that we did. We did everything. And the beauty of Shane is that he was so into music like me that when something came up, and I would call him up and go, "Man, Motorhead's going to be in Chicago on blah, blah. Do you want to go?" Yes. If he said that, we were going. There was no, "Oh, I can't make it. Oh, I can't," we were going. If we had to quit our jobs, we were going.
How many shows do you think you took in with Shane?
Oh, my God. I really don't. I really have no idea. A lot.
And you guys just wouldn't see shows around this area.
No,
you would go.
Wherever. Chicago became a real, because you didn't get the shows up here. You just didn't, and it was weird too, because a lot of it came through. I remember when there was a record store in Milwaukee that started getting Kerrang! Magazine, and we used to drive down there once a week just to get the new issue of Kerrang! Magazine, because there was no other way to get it. And that was kind of like the start of really discovering and getting out, and you had to in those days.
And then at the time you were taking pictures as well, right? When you were going
well, that's kind of where it all started, was in in those days. We started going, and I just thought, especially for club shows back when we were first going, in the late 70s and the early 80s, the club shows, you didn't need photo passes for any of that kind of stuff. And I remember one time seeing a guy at a show with the camera, and I thought, well, why don't I document some of these shows just for the fun of, look, we went to this when we were young or something. And that was how I ever picked up a camera in the first place.
And then the age of your age around the time that you met Shane, do you remember approximately how old you were?
Oh, I was I was in probably about 21, 22.
So this would have been right around, you hadn't gone to college yet at this point.
No. That was, and he hadn't opened up Appleton Imports. That all happened right around the same time. One of our first careers was going to be, we almost did this too. We almost sold out. We were going to sell everything we had, and we were going to move to Jamaica. He met some guys who were looking for people to work on one of the pot farms down there, and we were thinking, and I'm not kidding you, that was what we were going to do it. We were really going to do it, and I don't remember what happened that talked us out of it.
That's amazing.
But that was one of the first things we were going to do.
Yeah, that checks out. That totally checks out.
Oh gosh, I'm glad we didn't do that.
Well, it's amazing that you both ended up gravitating towards music, and again, not surprising since that's kind of what bonded you originally. Yeah. And then over the period of time that you didn't see him was 12, 14?
It was about 12 years that we really didn't talk.
And then entered the picture Dave and Adam, and then all of a sudden there's going to be a film made about reconnecting with an old friend. And your nerves are up.
Yeah.
Shane's are up. Dave has to go break the news that they're doing a film, and he said he was open but not.
Yeah.
Wasn't super excited.
Yeah, I mean, Yes.
And at that point, your relationship with Shane, do you have a close friendship with him, or was it more of an acquaintance?
Absolutely. Just especially over the last, several years, we had gotten a lot closer, and so he very much trusted me. In this film, I talk a little bit about that, but for these two to trust people, it was insane, especially Shane. But he trusted me, and we went in there and we set up and we talked to him, and he was fantastic, and yeah, it's incredible that we have that.
And did you have any storyboard written out as far as how you wanted to film the pieces?
No, it was a mess. we were just like, and we I think it was when we got to that point, we finished doing an interview with Marty, long form 40-minute interview with Shane, is when we just tabled it. We just lost it. It just got dusty for a year and a half.
At least, yeah.
Is that because of other projects that you had going on?
Commercial work and frustration that why'd we put all this time and energy into this thing when we don't know what happened, or we didn't know where we're gonna go, with this whole thing.
So at this point, it was just sort of an idea.
It was an idea. That was around 2022, sometime in 2022. We had done a little extra filming here and there. Every once in a while, we'd get out, force ourselves to get out and shoot something, or I want to get this shot of Marty, doing something. But yeah, it wasn't until 2023, late in 2023, 2024, where we're like, okay, let's do something.
Well, and you and Adam, you and Dave are co-producers on the film. Well, were your visions pretty aligned as far as not knowing what you're
Yeah.
As far as not knowing what we're doing.
Yeah. And for the previous short films that we've done, The House 613, we did one called The South Pole. That was very storyboarded out. I remember taking time and I'm not a good drawer, but drawing out storyboards and all this stuff. And for this, it was our initial idea of, we're going to talk about the importance of storytelling. And then when Dave realized Shane and Marty were friends, then the story just kept growing. And then it just took us down different avenues with different events that happened. So I think until about 2023, when Marty, Dave, and I sat down and really talked about it, did we know what this thing was going to be. And it probably sounds bad to say, but we had to force ourselves to sit down and work on this thing, because we knew what we had. We had these great interviews, but how do we tell a story through all this? So it was our three brains getting together and figuring out, where can we really go with this, and what story are we really trying to tell? And just along the way, without any storyboards or anything, Marty and Shane just kind of told the story, and we were just there to put it together.
Yeah, it's 2023, and then 2024 is when we're really we got this thing. We're like, okay, oh, this is what the story's about. It was right in front. Yeah, I think it was right in front of us for a while.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my gosh,
So you learn a lot in the film about Marty's life and Marty's past, and how close you were with your father, and the interviews are pretty personable, shot really well. There's a sun. One of them, there's sun coming in. I believe it's sun coming in through a window at just the perfect amount. Things set up, Easter eggs in the background that kind of tie in with Marty's life and your friendship with Shane. Was it hard for you to open up? You're such a outgoing, charismatic person, but this isn't like your normal way of telling stories about yourself. You're sitting here with a camera on you.
Yeah. It's one of the day they talk about that we were sitting in the office and figured this out, that was a day, one of those days in my life that was I don't know, it's life a changing day. It really was. I went there not expecting to happen. By the time I left, I had probably cried out a pail of tears, and Dave was going but then that also, we knew right then and there where we were going to go with this. Like you said, it was hard for me, because I can tell stories I can nonstop. If I'm awake, I'm telling a story to somebody if they're around. And yeah, but this was really hard. It was just because of the emotion of it all, because it was. I mean, our friendship and how it had went and what had happened. It was hard. It was real. As any addict, I'm sure, can tell you. You know, you don't just step away from that, and you know, and the fear of being near that life again but yet it's your best friend you ever had, you know. So it was extremely hard, but these guys made it pretty darn easy to do it. You know, a comfortable people, and the thing with Jackson and Company is I knew that this was going to be good. I know these two guys; they are not going to make something and put it out there that is not going to be good. And I, honest to God, I couldn't really wait to see it because I knew how good it would be. And one of the things I like to tell people is, the thing that I didn't like about it was those 4K cameras stuck in your face. And, you know, it would have been great maybe when I was 25 and looking pretty hot.
There's some good close-ups in there for sure.
At 60-some years old now, I was not looking. But you know, that is what it is, you know, and I got over that. But in the filming that they did with Shane is priceless. It's priceless. Wait till people see it. Wait till people see this. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be shocked when you see it.
So you hadn't run into Shane. You both lived in Appleton, but hadn't run into him anywhere during over a decade.
No, I used to run into his son Ted once in a while, you know. But it was pretty easy because Shane was pretty reclusive in those days. At the end, you know, he went home. He went to the store. You know, if you weren't in that line, the quick trip in between. I did run into him there once. There was a couple, but it was so awkward when it happened. You know, it was weird because the emotions were just like, you just want to grab him, but yet you're just like, ah.
So let's talk about the title of the film, The Truth Will Set You Free. Why did you settle on that title?
I didn't know. I knew what that was going to be when we had this conversation in 2024 in my studio. That was kind of when it dawned on me. But I think that it's so important to not, and I'm trying to frame this up the right way. I think it's so important to not, not tell the truth, or I think it's super important to be honest about the real things that happen in our lives. And as much as people don't want to talk about certain things, I think that this is one thing that we really needed to discuss. Like this was a topic that, like I said, I didn't realize exactly what this was going to be. I didn't realize what this was going to be until I realized, oh, this is actually a story about addiction. This is a story about addiction and loss. And I think that, you know, anybody who's going through any of that, and that's why this is so important for us, is that, you know, you got to be honest with yourself and what how this affects you and other people in your life. And yeah.
Well, this might be a good time to watch the trailer.
Yeah.
And we had a comment from, I'm going to butcher the name, Jason Kobish.
Yes.
Said, "Hey Dave, looking forward to seeing the final cut of the trailer." So let's see it.
All right.
Any setup you want to do on this?
No, it was it's just a good look at, I think, what this is about. And yeah, it's exciting to see it, and I hope that, you know, people will see the trailer, which we'll be putting out there eventually, you know, after this podcast. But yeah, just a good look at what this is. So enjoy it.
Let us know your thoughts after it plays. This is the first look at The Truth Will Set You Free. You're watching Fox Cities Core on Code Zero Radio.
No matter who we are or what path we take in life, we're all addicted to something. I always tell people I have a lot of things in common with everybody. I was born, and that's probably about where it ends. It got weird right from day one after that. I've heard people say this, they talk about you're a survivor, and it's like, well, you know, what other choice do you have? It really was a rag to riches type of life. The downs were way down. I mean, to points where you're finding people dead in garages. I met my friend Shane Krueger, and it became like dynamite, the two of us together. I had to step away from that friendship because the drug usage got really bad. It's so sad to see it go like that. It was so sad to see that happen. But I can tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way for anyone. It's a contrast of two people who went to live out their dreams. But it goes to show you the two paths you can take. So much of addiction and so much of this is hidden behind so many things. Tell somebody your problem. Tell them the real truth. The truth will set you free.
There was the first look, and that's got to be, Marty, I know you said you saw the film once, but that's still got to get you just hearing.
It's amazing. It really is. So emotional.
And we had a comment here from Janelle Barr. It says, first met Marty when he would come to the Ice Dogs games in his Kentucky hockey sweater. Thanks for telling your story, Marty. Thank you for the comment, Janelle. So it's from watching that, I mean, you can get the sense that it is a very personal and touching film. Were you, Adam and Dave, were you guys a little nervous about doing justice with this friendship? And I mean, you didn't run anything by him first, right? You just recorded it and edited it?
Well, no, like yes, there are some sensitive topics in here that we really had to curate very carefully. But for the most part, there's just this level of trust, between the three of us, that, especially with Marty, that, he trusts us to put out whatever we're going to put out is going to be the best thing to, the best topics to talk about. But I think that especially working with Marty and him telling his story it's so easy, because he wants to have he wants this to be as truthful, and he wants to tell intimate stories about his struggles and some heavy struggles and some heavy things in his life, because all of those things shaped him to who he is now. That he's healing people. He's using his storytelling as a platform to help other people and heal people. And unless you meet Marty in person and you have these conversations, I mean, you're just right away, you're like, oh my gosh, I can tell you anything. I can, that honesty, the truth, right? Yeah.
And one part that really made this tough is obviously losing Shane. Mm-hmm. Was that going to almost make this film not happen when that occurred?
I didn't know what happened. I didn't know where it would go. I know that we went through, January 8th, 2023. We lost him, and that it changed a little bit, and we shelved it, right? In the raw sense of a raw story I can give you is we didn't know what was going to happen. I sensed, Marty had come to the studio, and I was like already over, like working on the thing, and then I realized that, Marty, I felt like there was, he had been holding on to some anger and some resentment a little bit, and I think I was growing frustrated with it, and we had one of the most raw conversations we've ever had in our office, which is very difficult because he walked out of there, and I was like, I don't know if I said the wrong thing or whatever, but I think it was a motivation for Marty to be like, okay, we're gonna celebrate, we're really gonna celebrate Shane's life with this, and we're gonna get the stories out there, whether people want to hear them or not, But it was important for Marty's healing and I think it was important for my healing and anybody to heal, because I mean, this really is a story about grief and loss,
We've got a call on the line if you want to pop on the headphones here. I'm doing it a little untechnical here, Lynn. I have to hold the phone up to the microphone because my connector cord's not working.
Hello, Sister Lynn.
Hi.
What was that?
Yep, it's Sister Lynn.
What was your opinion? What did you think of the trailer, Lynn?
I think the first thing that came out of my mouth was a wow. Wow. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable from the trailer. I got goosebumps. I can't imagine what it's going to be like to see the full thing.
Did you have any inkling that Marty was doing this before you first heard of the film?
I knew of the movie. I knew things were going on because they would, talk about filming different things, and I thought, what the heck? You making a movie about Marty and Shane? It's like, I couldn't even fathom what it was gonna be, and now that I've seen the trailer and I have an idea of what it's gonna be, I don't have words. I just don't even have words.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the call, Lynn.
Yep.
Look forward to playing you in dodgeball later this year.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
So, are you ready for some of this? It's now that the trailer's gonna be out there. People are finally gonna see what you've been working on for all this time.
Yeah.
It's almost, Adam, it's got to be kind of like an album coming out, right? Is it the same feeling?
Yeah, it's a little surreal considering the amount of time that went into it. But now that just gets my brain into what can we do next? But I know that's me getting ahead of myself there. But it's I've never been a part of a project like this. The amount of time that's been put in, the amount of emotion that's been put in, or even just the amount of people that have contributed to this and helped make it what it is today.
Yeah.
So it's surreal to have it done, and it's almost like you're letting your baby go to school for the first time. You're just letting go of it. It feels really strange, but I couldn't be more proud of the work that everybody's put into it, and I'm extremely excited to finally get it out there and to show people. I can't wait.
Yeah. Wild ride.
What's the plan for rolling this film out?
So we are going to be premiering this on Saturday, May 10th of this year at Photo Op here in Appleton. The showing's going to be at 7 p.m., doors at 6. I will have more information as far as ticketing soon, but that is the first showing, and if it goes well, we're going to do more. We'll come out with a more detailed plan of like how we're going to get tickets out there. Minimal fee. There will be a small fee, but minimal. All of those, all the money from tickets or, any sales reels and do some posters, is going to go right back to Marty and, he's going to be able to donate that money to a cause of his choosing. So
You've done some really cool posters. Do you mind showing some of the examples?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is like going on. Not only did you create this film that memorializes their friendship, but you've made some really great posters that people can honor. It's great. And
yeah, definitely. So the cool thing is, this is the first poster right here. This is the key art for it. A huge shout out to Jason Koepke. He did a lot of the graphic design in the actual documentary, and he did all the graphic design and layout for these posters, which is really cool. Hopefully you can see those based on the lighting. Really cool. So we're gonna have some of these for sale. They're numbered and they're gonna be signed, which is really cool. And there's a cool. So we're gonna do 5 total variants, but this is the second variant that I think we really love. This is the. I'm trying to get this. There you go. I'm trying to get that in the right frame. That is the Appleton Imports one, and like if you look at it, like right down here, there's a little Shane right there behind the counter. So very cool. Just something, I think this film is also super great for people who are fans of the legacy of Appleton Imports. I mean, come on, it's just. So we're gonna have those for sale. Signed, numbered. Yeah.
Is there going to be a website or anything for the film?
No.
So you'll have to go up to the premiere, one of the showings. If
You're gonna have to go. Yeah, you're gonna have to go to the actual showing. This will not be streamed online for the foreseeable future, because we're also gonna push this around to a few film festivals in the meantime.
I think some congratulations also due for you right now, Dave. You took away some awards recently at the AAF Fox River Ad Club. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so we had Adam and I had done a project for one of our very special clients, Daily Planet. We've done a bunch of stuff with them, but they brought us in to work with Potawatomi Hotel and Casino up in Carter, and we happened to do a bunch of videos for these cool video displays inside their Milwaukee casino. The big columns we shot. Adam shot video of the Native American dancers, and I, alongside that, shot a handful of stills and portraits, and we submitted that, and it won some pretty cool awards. Yeah.
Tobin was there, which probably made it even sweeter to walk away with some of those awards.
Yeah. It was just a really cool experience, and to be able to celebrate these people was huge for me.
And is there going to be a lot of going to be really pushing this to get this film into, the film festivals and hope that it wins some awards?
Yeah, I mean, that's always great. The awards are always cool, but I think like even going back to this Potawatomi thing and this stuff, putting it into film festivals or award ceremonies, that's all great. That's super cool, because I can say, hey, I was tied to this thing, but I think more importantly, just like the Potawatomi stuff, is the thing that was so special about that was not the awards, but was putting a face to these amazing Native American dancers. And The Truth Will Set You Free. I think it's this. I want this to get out there, so this helps people. If this helps people in one part of their life, helps them with grief and loss, that's massive. And that's why, more important than that, is to get this to for people to, if this helps somebody.
Absolutely. It helped me already.
Yeah.
It changed my life. And I'm not moving to Hollywood. I'm not going to take up. That's not what because I can't wait till I can start shopping this thing around as a story, and because storytelling really, I mean, just my story slammed. Some of the stories I've heard from people and how this has helped them, and I know personally, when I came out of my addiction, I ended up in storytelling because I was lost and I didn't know where to go, and just fell into it and realized that this is the answer that I needed. This is what I needed to be able to crawl out of this hole, and it came down to the fact that I drummed up the courage to get up on a stage and start telling people the absolute true stories about my life, the true stories, and that just set a fire in me that, once again, here we are.
Yeah. Got some comments here. Annette says, gives me chills every time. And Robert Olson said, Marty, be proud. You are sharing that addiction can be beat. Shane loved you, and it was obvious. Dave and Adam, awesome work. Anthony Alvaretto, he's been over here before. He says, awesome to see this come together. Can't wait to check this out. Our Rise office is right across from Appleton Imports now. Ian H. says, as someone who grew up in Appleton in the 90s and spent a lot of time at Imports, I'm really looking forward to seeing this. And Melanie Jackson said, so proud of Jackson and company's work on this documentary, and I can't wait to see it on the big screen. So you guys have a lot of people supporting. Oh, we've got more comments here too. Amanda Krieger, this will be a difficult film to watch, but I support the need to share this story. I hope it has a positive impact. We miss Shane so much. And the band Choke. Everything about this is so awesome. The story needed to be told for so many reasons. Incredibly happy for everyone involved. So some great feedback already on the film. I'm super excited for this. It's amazing again, and it's nice to have Shane finally. He's gonna be remembered in this. He's done a lot. If you're into music in Appleton, he was a big part of the music scene, and sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the new things around here and forget about the people that really paved the way. And Shane was definitely a road paver for the Appleton music scene.
Absolutely.
Huge deal. Yeah.
So
I don't know how I'm gonna. I mean, you can see that everything about this gets me emotional, and gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this, but I will. And it's been, and it's making a huge difference in my life.
Dave, you brought some records that kind of talk about we're talking about Shane and his deep love of music and his deep knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. So there are a couple of albums here that I got from both. This one's from Marty. This is Legs Diamond of Hard Rock. This is In It. The song is in it, as well as John Wayne, Texas Funeral. Mm-hmm. Marty, if you want to chime in about anything, but this is awesome.
Well, the Legs Diamond one was that album was the actual catalyst to our friendship. The very first day that you'll see that in the movie, so that's a really special album.
Yeah, goes without saying, but Matt Lawrence, Suitcase Junket. He's in the trailer. He's also in the trailer. His music is. And he's also in the documentary.
And my family has now adopted him. They now call him Uncle Suitcase.
And then obviously, this is Shane's Wild Dogs. It's in there too.
It's quite the cover.
Pivotal moment of like the needle going on this is just like one of the most iconic scenes of the whole thing. Yeah, but he had given me. I had been, just through the years of my friendship with him, he had given me, a bunch of records that mean the world to me, just stuff that is never going to go anywhere else. I mean, the one that and this is really cool because I found this. This is Bastards of the Sky, but if you see it, and it's like he would get a lot of these. He would get a lot of these records, and this band's from the UK. And it's fantastic, like doom metal. But on the cover it says, "This has no sticker, no wrap, no CD, no insert. This is for Shane at Appleton Imports, signed by the band." He would have a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, tons of that stuff.
Crazy stuff, yeah. The original, all the original Pantera records he gave me. The original.
So Shane was a Pantera fan.
I don't know if he was a Pantera fan, but he had them. He had everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me we had talked about this, I think, on the last podcast. This is that Tool Undertow gray vinyl promo that I was after for years, and finally called me up. Called me on the phone. I was like, I don't know how he got my number. It was fantastic. Years ago, he's like, I want you to come have that. So then that's kind of a reconnecting point between him and I. And we had a great conversation, and yeah.
Well, the film, there's some great stuff in the film that Adam did with some recreating, which I'm excited for people to see. And you don't have to get too far into it, but you had to fill in some of the blanks for some of the storytelling that, to tell the full story. Mm-hmm. And how hard was it to put? You can go into it as deep as you want.
Sure. That section was kind of just, we just had a placeholder in there for the longest time. I can't even remember what we had originally had in there, but it's going over Marty and Shane's first time actually meeting up and the start of their friendship. So there's a lot of different characters that Marty and Shane talk about during that time. So Dave had created some vignettes of these characters, and that was kind of the start of it. It was just these little still frames of characters that we had, and both Dave and I just felt like something's just missing here. We can make more of this.
Yeah.
So we reached out to Jason Colbishop to do some animations for us, and then we kind of took what he did, and it's just real subtle movements to these little animations. So you start to see into this world of where Marty and Shane were back in the day, what Shane was doing, the friends that they had. You kind of just get a little bit of a look into this world. And we didn't have actual photos of the people that Shane and Marty were talking about. So
I tried to dig.
Oh, we both dug. And we called Marty up one day, like, what the heck does this person look like?
I'm making great guesses with Mid-Journey.
Yeah, so Dave took some stabs in the dark as far as what these people look like. So it's, and just did little animations of these characters.
We use AI. You know, it's really cool. Part of it is like that we're using some of these things that a lot of people aren't ready to embrace, but we're using AI to create things, and and then on top of it, there's things in there that we were able to dig up after hours and hours and hours of looking in my frustration, find these like cool things and that helps tell the story. Because there are some things in this whole storytelling thing that we only had so much video of Shane and so much usable video of him. He was a hard interview, very much a hard interview. But I'm glad that we have those pieces because it's incredible. Yeah. So we had to kind of tell the story in very unique ways because we didn't have a lot of that content, especially,
It's really cool, and it really does help tell the story because instead of like just watching somebody talk, you're actually seeing it. It's almost like you're in their mind. Right. As in their memories.
Crazy as it is.
I'll tell you, the crazy part of it too is when they were doing that sacred. I didn't know. Well, and here's the thing: is they were always trying to get me. You should come and see it. And I go, nope. I told them I didn't want to see this till it was finished because I really didn't. I didn't want to have any influence on what they were doing. But on this particular day, they called me up. And they called me several times that day, and they kept asking me these crazy questions about this. What was this person's name that you were talking about? I told them the name, and then they called me. What did they look like? Do you? And it was, and I'm going, what are they doing? And how? I really didn't. Honest to God, I had no idea what they were doing, and I thought, well, I don't know where they're going with this. But so he called several times that day, asking me, well. Did that person what color was her hair? And I'm what are they doing?
But yeah, I would come like after my work day of doing the regular business stuff. I would go home. I mean, there was many weeks and weeks and weeks. I'd watch it like 5 times. Right now, it's go back to work the next day, bring it to Adam. I'd be like, Adam, I have like 6 changes. He just go. I don't. And there's days where we couldn't even look at it anymore, and then I go back and watch it, and then I'm like researching stuff for 2 hours, and I come back like I found this awesome thing, and hopefully it fits. If it doesn't, we'll scrap it. But there's wild things in there we were able to dig up, but plus all Marty's photos and stuff that we were able to get, which. I was on its ass. I'm like, dude, get me some photos.
God,
he's going through buckets. He's like,
I'm photos than I ever saw
in my
crazy. And then it would be, we got to reshoot one thing. A week later, there's one more little thing we want to. Can you come on?
Oh yeah,
a lot of days like that.
I think I remember you saying, and I know that you didn't mean it afterwards because we had talked about it. But when we were shooting, I remember you saying like, "This better be the last time. This thing's going to be done." But I think like, I'm glad it took as long as it did,
right?
Because. Like Dave was saying, with really being able to dive in and watch this thing and make it exactly what we want it to be and make parts more interesting and add in more things or take out things that to the story that we were telling now didn't make sense. If we had this deadline of, we want to put it out in 6 months, I don't think it would be anywhere near what it is now. So to be able to take 4 years to put this thing together and really hone in on the story, I think was the way that it needed to be made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and you can tell that there was a lot of attention to detail in this film. And you went to Rock Garden and worked with Mark Goldie to get the audio right. So there's just lots of different people. You had drone footage in there. There's just lots of people that helped with the film. And was it difficult to bring other people in? It is a pretty personable project.
Yeah. It wasn't difficult. It was about finding the right people. Right, so it was about having good partnerships with people that we don't, and everybody contributed their time on this, just like, which was fantastic. But You know, we had Mark Goldie, who came in and he did the final audio on this, which is fantastic. Got it to where it needs to sound more cinematic. Jason Kobishop, I mean, he put in a lot of time doing, you know, doing graphic design elements, a lot of crazy fun stuff. Did the poster, you know, it added, like, everybody's contribution to this, like, created or like added to what this final thing is, and it made it bigger than what it was. You know, you had your hand in too with the video. There's some video that you digitized for us. But yeah, everyone that, you know, Keith Bassett flew drone for us, and the list goes on. I'm probably missing a few people, and apologize for that, but it's just contributions to any person, anybody, you know, any music that was in it, you know, all that stuff's great.
The soundtrack is really good.
It's fun. Yeah, it hits. It slaps.
A couple more comments here. Madeline Little, so proud of you, Uncle Meatman. You are the absolute coolest. Incredible trailer. Bring it to film fests out here. John Adams said, beautiful work. Can't wait to watch the whole thing. So again, May, photo op. People can ticket information will be available soon.
Yeah.
You're going to have some limited edition prints, signed and numbered, that people can purchase. Yep. Anything else? Any other little surprises that you can give away at this point?
There might be a few stories told after the show.
Yeah. Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Like, would you guys be doing question and answer after?
We're going to do Q&A. And I think that's super important part of this, so we can talk about all this stuff and ask all the questions and things that, you know, weren't necessarily in this short documentary, you know, ask away in person, because some of those things because it should be an honest conversation about all these things and the things that happened and all that. Yeah.
I'm very excited for my friend Shane, that he and his family, you know, get a chance to really celebrate his life, because there hasn't been that since he passed. It just kind of was a whirlwind, and we, Dave and I, had always said we wanted to do some kind of celebration of his life. We never imagined it would be this, but to me, this is a great honor to a great man.
Yeah, just to memorialize him and, you know, what he meant to a lot of people, more so than just the store. I mean, as a father, grandfather, son, you know, all that stuff.
It really is a great opportunity to see behind people like me that only knew him as being the Appleton Imports guy, that seeing Shane's life. And that was another great thing about the film, is just kind of learning stuff about Shane that I didn't know. It really is a story about friendship, loss, reconnection, and it's a movie a film that'll make you think after you watch it. I think people are going to have to watch it more than once.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully, I'm sure at some point it's going to stream, but yeah, the grief and loss part of it's pretty huge for me, because it's a way to heal. You know, my brother, after his son Ben died, you know, he said many times that you don't move on, you move forward, right? You move through the grief, and you always carry that grief with you. That never goes away. But, you know, through storytelling or leaning on other people, that burden of that grief can be lifted. You know, and that's really, really important for this story. Was, you know, maybe this took some of that burden from you, and some of that, you know, and helped you through this process, and helped everyone through this process. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming here and talking about the film. The Truth Will Set You Free. More information will be available soon on tickets. In the meantime, is there anything people should keep an eye on?
I'd say watch out for social media. My social media, Instagram at David E. Jackson, or Facebook. Marty will be sharing it on his personal page and his
the Meatman Chronicles.
Meatman Chronicles. Then I'll also have information at the Jackson and Company Facebook page as well. And we'll get that information out there. I'm sure a lot of people are going to share it. You know, everyone knows that Marty talks a lot, so everyone's going to hear about it.
Speaking of which, I have several shows coming up yet this year. We have 3 more months left in our season at the Cheesecake Oven, which we meet with next Saturday is our next show, and our theme is, are we going to go to jail for that? So you might hear a Shane Krueger story that night. We also have 2 more shows coming up at the 602 Club in Appleton. The next one, I believe, is April 6th at the 602, and I think there is one May 31st Firth at the 602. So, please come out. My
Yeah.
shows are free. They're fun. They're just fun. It's just fun storytelling.
And you don't have to get up and tell a story.
No, come and listen.
Yeah.